welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to decode a word you probably use all the time, but you have no idea what it really means. We're going to uncover a secret that links ancient gods, sacred bears, and a kind of linguistic code that's been hiding in plain sight for centuries.
Okay, so let's just start with a simple question. What if the Korean phrase for thank you, 고맙다, isn't just a polite phrase? What if it actually holds a power, a history, that goes way deeper than just simple gratitude? What if saying it was, in a way, like casting a spell?
To get to the answer, we have to look past the word we use today. We've got to peel it back, layer by layer, until we get to its ancient root. Because the truth isn't in what we say now, but in what the word used to be. And here it is. This is the source. The origin of 고맙습니다 is this noun, 고마. And 고마 had nothing to do with thanks. Nope. It meant God, a divine being, something you would literally worship. You see how this just changes everything? In this ancient context, gratitude wasn't just about, being appreciative. It was an act of extreme reverence. You were literally elevating the other person to the status of a god. Okay, so that leads to a pretty obvious question, right? What exactly was this ancient Goma, this god? Well, all the clues point to one of Korea's most powerful and oldest symbols, the bear. And the connection here is incredibly direct. See, in ancient Korea, the bear, called gam, wasn't just another animal in the forest. It was seen as a divine being, a totem, maybe even a clan god. It's so important that Korea's national foundation myth stars a bear woman, Umyo, who becomes the mother of the entire Korean nation. So it makes sense that the word for that sacred bear, gam, and the word for God, goma, are believed to come from the exact same linguistic root. So here's how that evolution of meaning happened. It all starts with gom, the sacred bear, this physical symbol of a god. From there, the meaning broadens to goma, which becomes a term for any god or divine being. And from there, it becomes an action, 고맙다, which is the act of treating someone else with that same level of reverence. So it goes from an animal to divinity to this incredible expression of respect. But, how can we be sure all these words are really connected? Is there proof? Well, the secret is in this linguistic rule that our source material calls the divine code. It's like a key that unlocks this entire ancient history.
Let's look at this idea because it's absolutely central to the whole thing. It's called the initial consonant law, and it basically suggests that the real essential meaning of a word is locked into its main consonants. You can almost think of it like linguistic DNA. The vowels can change, the endings can get tacked on, but those core consonants, they stay, and they carry the word's original identity forward through time.
Now, for all the words we're looking at, that code, that DNA, is GM. Think of it like a sonic fingerprint for a sacred being. If a word has that GM sound, it's carrying the ancient essence of divinity. It's the key. And what's so cool is you can just see this principle in action right here. Look at the words in that first column. Gom, goma, gomap. The vowels are different, the endings change, but that GM consonant cluster, it's perfectly preserved. It's right there. This is the proof that all three words really do share that same divine essence. Okay, so this is where the story takes a really fascinating turn. Because this linguistic DNA, this GM code, it didn't just stay put. It traveled. And its journey connects this ancient Korean code to the language of its closest neighbor. Yeah, that's right. This code basically built a bridge right across the sea. The GM sound didn't stop at Korea's borders. The evidence suggests it actually became a foundational part of the Japanese language too. And this slide just lays it out so clearly. On the left, you've got the Korean root for God, goma, and on the right, the Japanese word for God, kami. The argument is that goma is the origin, with its core GM sound mapping almost perfectly to the KM sound in kami. But the connection gets even deeper when you look at Japan's most famous honorific, gozaimasu. Pay attention to that first part, go. The idea here is that this little prefix that signals politeness is a direct descendant of the Korean root for God, goma. That original meaning of reverence got baked right into this marker of politeness in Japanese. It's incredible. This divine code is literally etched into the landscape. You find ancient place names in both Korea and Japan that share the exact same sacred root. In Korea, you have Gomanaru, the sacred ferry crossing. In Japan, Kumamoto can be read as the root of the divine. And there's even a Koma shrine, which is explicitly dedicated to royalty from ancient Korea. That GM/KM sonic fingerprint is everywhere you look. So let's bring this all back home. What does this actually mean for us, today, for the words we use? Because this isn't just some dusty old history lesson. It has a huge impact on how we think about communication. Knowing this hidden history just completely changes the simple act of saying thank you. It's not a formality anymore. It becomes this powerful, conscious declaration of respect. It's a modern echo of a really ancient spiritual practice, where you're actually acknowledging the sacredness, the divinity in another human being. I mean, think about that. When you say thank you, you're not just being polite. You are, in essence, saying, I will treat you as the God of my life. What an incredibly beautiful and powerful blessing to give to another person, hidden inside a word you might say a dozen times a day without a second thought. And really, that's the big takeaway. This entire forgotten history was unlocked just by following that simple GM code. And it just makes you wonder, what other powerful histories, what other ancient rituals and divine codes are locked away in our everyday language, just waiting for someone to find the key?